Hi, welcome back. I'm Surya. This is video 4 in our series on two-part question essays. In the last video, we wrote the introduction and the conclusion for our self-employment essay. Today, we will write the two paragraphs in between, the body paragraphs, and by the end of the lesson, we will have a complete, finished essay. Let's get started. From video 3, we already have the introduction, a paraphrase plus an outline of both questions, and the conclusion, which restates our answer to both questions. What's missing are the two body paragraphs. Body paragraph 1 will give the reasons people choose self-employment, and body paragraph 2 will give the disadvantages. So we are going to write those two body paragraphs today. Back in video 2, we learned a simple pattern called peel. Let's use it now. Each body paragraph begins with a clear point that introduces the main idea. Next, you explain that idea by showing why it happens or why it's important. Then, support it with a specific, realistic example. Finally, link the discussion back to the question so the examiner can clearly see how your ideas answer the task. Both of today's body paragraphs follow this same pattern, so once you've seen how it works in one paragraph, the second will feel very familiar. Let's build body paragraph 1, which answers the first question, why do people choose self-employment? As we learnt in video 2, we will use the peel structure. Since this paragraph contains two reasons, we will use a separate peel sequence for each one. Let's develop our first idea using the peel structure. The point is that self-employment offers greater independence and higher earning potential. To explain this, we can say that people who work for themselves can decide when they work and keep the profits they earn instead of receiving a fixed salary. Next comes the example. A freelance designer, for instance, may choose to take on more clients than someone in a regular office job. Finally, we link the idea back to the question by explaining that this combination of independence and higher earnings makes self-employment an attractive option. Now let's look at the second reason. The point is that self-employment lets people pursue work they're genuinely passionate about. To explain this, people can leave an unfulfilling job and pursue their own interests. For example, someone who loves photography can turn that passion into a profession. Finally, we link the idea back to the question by explaining that this personal satisfaction motivates many people to work for themselves. Notice that this entire paragraph focuses only on the first question. We don't mention a single disadvantage that comes in the next paragraph. Now let's see how those ideas come together as a complete body paragraph. Take a moment to read the paragraph on the screen. If you need more time, pause the video here and continue when you are ready. As you read, see if you can identify the two peel sequences we discussed on the previous slide. Now let's look at how the paragraph is organized. Each reason follows its own peel chain. In the first section, the phrases which often allows them to earn considerably more and makes self-employment highly attractive. Complete the explanation by linking the example back to the main idea. In the second section, the sentence about the photography provides the example, while the clause, which brings a personal satisfaction, links that example back to the main point. Finally, notice the linking phrase, in addition, which clearly signals the move from the first reason to the second and helps the paragraph flow smoothly. Now let's move on to body paragraph 2, which answers the second question, the disadvantages of being self-employed. We use exactly the same approach, two ideas, each with its own peel sequence. Let's begin with the first disadvantage. The point is that self-employment often lacks financial security. To explain this, we can say that there is no guaranteed monthly salary, sick pay, or paid holiday to rely on. Next comes the example. A self-employed builder, for instance, might earn a comfortable income one month and almost nothing the next. Finally, we link the idea back to the question by explaining that this uncertainty makes financial planning a constant source of worry. Now let's look at the second disadvantage. The point is that self-employed people frequently work for much longer hours. To explain this, the success of the business often depends entirely on them. For example, they may find themselves answering client emails late at night and at weekends. Finally, we link the idea back to the question by pointing out that this can blur the line between professional and personal life, eventually leading to stress and exhaustion. Notice that this entire paragraph focuses only on the second question, which is the disadvantages of working for yourself. Now let's see how those ideas come together as a complete body paragraph. As you read the paragraph, see if you can identify the two peel sequences we discussed on the previous slide. If you need more time, pause the video here and continue when you are ready. Now let's look at how the paragraph is organized. Again, each disadvantage follows its own peel pattern. The opening phrase, "Despite these benefits," links this paragraph back to the previous one, creating better coherence. The phrase, "A further drawback," clearly introduces the second disadvantage and helps the paragraph flow smoothly. Finally, notice how the which clauses link each example back to the main idea. They explain why the example is important rather than simply ending the paragraph with the example itself. Now let's put everything together. We now have a complete essay. The introduction and conclusion came from video 3, while the two body paragraphs came from today's lesson. Notice how each body paragraph answers a different question. This clear organization makes the essay easy to follow and ensures that both parts of the task receive equal attention. As you have seen throughout this series, successful two-part question essays follow a simple approach. Organize your ideas clearly, develop each body paragraph, and support your points with relevant examples. Remember, the single most important requirement of a two-part question essay is to answer both questions fully, and this essay shows you exactly how to do that. That's the end of this lesson. In the final video, we'll work through a complete model essay on a new topic from start to finish. That will give you one more opportunity to see everything we have covered in this series applied to a fresh IELTS question. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.